Follow the link below for part 1.
So let's take a moment and explore the ancient world creation myth here, particularly from Quetzalcoatl's angle. Creator gods, Tonacatecutli and Tonacaquihuatl, dual aspects of the supreme creator, Ometeotl. Now the names may vary, such as the versions with the letter O at the start. These two creator gods were opposites, yin and yang, black and white, masculine and feminine energies. They gave birth to these 4 gods, the first god being the red smoking mirror, Tlatlauqui Tezcatlipoca, also known as Sipe Totec. The second god, black smoking mirror, the leader of the brothers, Yayauqui Tezcatlipoca, also known as simply Tezcatlipoca. And the third, Quetzalcoatl, the plumed serpent, and the fourth being the god of war, Huitzilopochtli, as known by the Aztecs. 600 years the gods remained idle. Then the first thing they created was fire. Next, a weak, dim sun. Then man and woman, who created the calendar and account of time. And through epochs, these gods created various people, dwarfs, giants. Tezcatlipoca was the sun for 13 cycles, 676 years. And then Quetzalcoatl hit him with a club and knocked him into the water, where he turned into a jaguar and proceeded to eat the giants of the earth. And then Quetzalcoatl remained as the new sun for 676 years, until Tezcatlipoca, as jaguar, struck him and tumbled Quetzalcoatl out of the sky, causing a terrible storm and winds that blew and changed the last people into monkeys. And so Tlaloc, the water god, became the sun for 364 years. Quetzalcoatl rained fire from the heavens and deposed Tlaloc from being a sun and put his wife into place as the new sun for the next 312 years. So these 4 gods tried 4 times to create a new sun and a new humanity, and 4 times these projects were destroyed by cosmic catastrophes. The great rains and the destruction of the last sun caused the sky and the land to stick together. Tezcatlipoca and Quetzalcoatl turned themselves into ginormous trees to help raise the sky and separate it from the waters. They then placed it to where it is to this day. Quetzalcoatl and Tezcatlipoca became the lords of the sky and stars. The road they made is the Milky Way, where it is also said that they reside. Upon this 4th disappearance of the sun and destruction of humanity and the final woman and man by an angry Titlacahuan, an aspect of Tezcatlipoca, were punished by death. Quetzalcoatl was decided to go into the underworld, the netherworld, in search of the bones of the ancient humans to create the new. The god of the underworld refused to give him the bones and frustrated his efforts before finally agreeing on the condition that he would not keep them forever. Quetzalcoatl managed to bring them to the gods, who then ground them up. Quetzalcoatl spilled the blood of his male organ over the ground bones, out of which were born the vessels of the gods. But there was no food, so then Quetzalcoatl discovered a grain of corn being carried by a tiny red ant. Quetzalcoatl asked the ant to show him where it retrieved the corn from. And after moments of exchange, the ant finally agreed to guide him to where it discovered the grains. Quetzalcoatl turned into a black ant and followed it into the mountain of Tonacatepetl, where the corn was being secretly stored. Quetzalcoatl, in his tiny ant form, stole a few of these grains, which he eventually brought to the gods, who then chewed them up and then fed them to the humans. The common people recreated and fed. The gods now decided to make a new, stronger sun that should, among giving light, also eat hearts and drink blood, earning gratitude from the people. The gods made sacrifices. They drew blood from their ears, made a big fire. Quetzalcoatl threw his humble son, Nanahuatl, into the flames, who then became the new great sun. Tlaloc also threw his son, Napatacutli, who became the moon in the now scorching, heightened heat of the fire, hence the dimmer appearance from being covered in ashes. It is said that Cholula's highest god, Quetzalcoatl, transformed himself into a star, who at every appearance priests offered sacrifices to, such as their own blood or incense ceremonies. This star, of course, found to be Venus. And finally, keep in mind, as the nature of Quetzalcoatl, there are different variations to this story. Let's take a little fun path here and take a look at the ability of Quetzalcoatl. He has the ability to travel to all realms of reality, from the realms of the high gods, to the earthly planes, to the netherworld. So needless to say, flight is an ability. The ability to shapeshift. We've seen him in human, plumed serpent form, ant form, and of course a proud sun. And so we can imagine that he could change to everything else in between, and that's a lot of potential. Also high wisdom and intelligence. The feathered serpent's representations. In the main building of the citadel in Teotihuacan, the center of political power, Quetzalcoatl's and the war serpent's alternating heads appear on the wall. Quetzalcoatl's are thought to refer to fertility and internal matters of state, while the war serpents, the other side of the government's dual aspects, military, conquest, and empire. Again, Quetzalcoatl being highly representative of civilization. In Mesoamerican tradition, the serpent is associated with the reproductive powers of earth and fertility. The very image of resurrection. Each year the serpent changes its skin and is regenerated. Again, just as Venus appears differently twice a year. Also, in much of mythology, snakes and rainfall are closely related. Serpents are considered the image of thunderbolts, and thus Tlaloc, ancient messengers who spread rain, thunder, and lightning, carry serpents in their hands, with the feathers of one of the most beautiful birds of the tropical jungle, the Quetzal. The logic of Quetzalcoatl in the sky as lightning made even more sense. The brightly colored feathers were synonymous with magnificence, splendor, and wealth for Mesoamerican people. Quetzalcoatl was the metaphorical fusion of the germinating powers of earth, snake, and the creative powers of sky, bird. From most ancient times, the meaning of plumed serpent was associated with vegetal renewal. The green feathers covering the serpent were symbolic of representing the time of the year when the dry season was transformed by greening vegetation. The green feathers representing the leaves and green shoots of corn plants. The green symbolism connected to jade, the most precious and valued of stones, also a symbol of vital energy, and the adornment that distinguished the sovereign and members of the noble lineages. Since the Olmecs, jade was hung and placed into the mouths of the dead to ensure later rebirth, and was worn by rulers to signal all those above mentioned characteristics. Quetzalcoatl is a god that crosses many categories, and I sincerely hope that this information has been a spark to your adventure on Quetzalcoatl. There are many books dedicated to the specific personas of Quetzalcoatl, and there are various theologies, such as the theology of Mormons, believing that Quetzalcoatl was Jesus arriving from the skies, and that Quetzalcoatl's promise of return clearly links to Jesus' words of also promising to return someday. There's also fascinating speculation from the Indian side, specifically of the Tamilian belief that their gods were the root, or well, the same as the Mayan, Kukulkan, therefore being Vishnu of Tamil. As always, it is very interesting the similarities among world religions and their gods and goddesses, and the recorded tales, the similar messiahs, etc. And finally, I hope you found this interesting and or entertaining, and if you did, please leave me a like or a comment down below to let me know that you did. I also invite you to continue the discussion over on our Facebook page and the discussion tab here on YouTube over at our channel page, where I also want you to check out the other monsters and other deities, videos of deities and monsters that we have up. So, Check us out on all that social media stuff. We're also on Instagram, where I post 2 monsters a day. And until next time, you've been watching World of Monsters, all about deities, gods and goddesses.